Yeah.
You have the American Dictionary for English or Webster's or whatever, and then you have Black's Law Dictionary.
Hmm.
And that Black's Law Dictionary is a completely different language. We think it's the same. It seems like it's pretty close, but yeah, it's far, far different.
Like these consent laws. The consent laws are a really good example of what you're talking about right there. People don't really understand consent. Like when it comes to law and you give consent to even police officers and especially judges, you know, the court systems, period. Whenever you go in and you don't have the money to buy or pay for your own attorney, you go in and you sign a contract freaking saying that you legally can't afford to hire an attorney. What you're actually doing is you're handing your right to speak in court over to a freaking public defender to speak on your behalf, because at that point you're no longer allowed to speak to the judge or the court without the approval of the court or the judge. You know what I'm saying?
It goes way deeper, but yeah, I know what you're saying.
Um, that's the kind of stuff that freaking I got into when I heard you saying that. I remember you, or I remember doing that stuff, and it's true. It's just like when you're driving down the road, well, back whenever it was illegal in most states, and you had those incense of marijuana plants on your rearview mirror,
Right.
you're automatically giving consent to the police officer to freaking search your entire car because you have that up on your rearview mirror. You know?
Yeah, there's all kind of stuff that they put into laws, and we arbitrarily have consented to by thinking that our parents were acting on our best behalf by giving us a social security card and taking us to
Mm-hmm.
the uh, daily indoctrination camps and uh, feeding our heads and interest full of propaganda to keep us in this system that is meant to control us and enslave us to further its power and reach and control.
Yep. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that I was referring to right there. You know.
And if we take the time to step back and get put the great thinkers of our times on the subject of coming up with a new language that is more common and mathematically certifiable. That way we can have contracts and public announcements, that kind of thing. It doesn't have to be like everybody has to know this language, like, and that's the only language you speak. It would be more like everybody gets to learn this new language so that when they're out in public and they have to deal with some kind of accident or some kind of happenstance to where two parties are conflicting and they use this language instead of their normal speak.
Yeah. But
So that it's clear and concise and it's not corruptible.
see the thing that gets me when it comes to like history, especially, is there's a lot of this that happened way before we were even born. You know, like don't get me wrong. I'm all okay with a lot of the stuff with the Emancipation Declaration, right? It freed the slaves and stuff like that, but people don't understand that that was a double-edged sword too, because when Abraham Lincoln made that law, people didn't realize what he actually did. He made it illegal for any state to secede from the freaking Union. Okay? So the moment any state tries to secede from the Union, it's an automatic act of war. And a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah, Constitutional convention is what we. I mean, that's the. I mean, I don't even know if that's the best option. I just know that that's one option.
I think that is.
And also, while that's happening, come up with a new language that's more universal and mathematically certifiable. That way you can't have double meanings and, you know...
Double-edged sword.
Deceit, you know, just willful deceit. Like, we're doing this, we're writing this up to deceive people on purpose.
Yeah.
That's fucked up. That is so beyond...
Well, see, I think the basic problem is, like, people don't understand the structure when it comes to government and sovereignty, okay? We're the sovereignty, and we're not freaking friends with the government. The government is never... It was never intended to be our friend, okay? The more power that we have, the less power government has, and vice versa. So when you turn around and you start handing all this power over to government, you're taking your power away from yourself. Okay? And I think a lot of people don't understand that concept. They don't understand the fact that every time you allow the government to do stuff for you, you're losing your rights. You're losing your God-given rights that you're freaking given, you know?
Not even when you're allowing them to do stuff for you, when you're refusing to question the stuff that they do, when you're refusing to say, hey, this is something that maybe should be adjusted, when you're just basically conforming. The opposite of the opposite of courage is not cowardness, but it's conformity. And Earl Nightingale says that. And it's crazy because people are really, really afraid to kind of tell people, like, hey, this is what's going on, this is what it is, and like to be able to express themselves. And because if you question it, you're afraid of the backlash. But the thing about it is, how can you not be afraid of the effect more than you're afraid of the backlash? Like, if something is going to condemn you for questioning it, it's probably all the more reason it should be questioned, because usually it means it's some hiding something. So
exactly. That's pretty good. So
I gotta start having you on my shows. Like, I talk about this stuff all the time, but I'm usually like, it's in the middle of the night for like 3 or 4, almost 5 hours or something, and like it just depends on my mood and what else I have going on. But like, I talk about this all the time because it's a lesser known topic or a lesser discussed topic, because people, again, are afraid of backlash. You go on YouTube with stuff like that. I get copyrighted every single show. Like, oh, copyright, there's something wrong with this, there's something wrong with that, blah, 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 blah. And like, it's always an issue with YouTube.
So the quote I like, kind of to sum it up, we think in language. The quality of our thoughts and ideas can only be as good as the quality of our language. That's George Carlin.
Yeah.
But we had thoughts before we had language. And that's the only reason, like, if we look at it in that perspective, technically we're kind of disregarding what we think before what we speak, but what we think should come before what we speak. And sometimes we might think in a different language. Like, some people think in Spanish and speak in English to respond to people in English, and like in different types of languages. It makes sense, but at the same time, like, you should be able to communicate exactly how you hear yourself, and then people should be able to not necessarily adjust or adapt, but at least comprehend.
We'll see.
But to express that without being able to have the word in your head, you understand?
There's symbolisms, there's signs. That's why there's so many
Do
different.
you remember me talking about linguistics?
Me?
Yeah, I remember you mentioning it.
Okay,
I haven't
now,
checked into it yet.
Linguistics is a very interesting thing. Okay, and it's hard for people to comprehend this, but like, you know how you write stuff down.
Yep.
Right. Linguistics goes beyond writing stuff down. It's the actual words that come out of your mouth. Okay, like they research words that come out of your mouth. They don't care about any of the writing. They don't care about society. You know, they worry about, or they study the words. You know what I mean? Saying the word water. Where did that come from? What cultures use the word water? And how are they linked? You know what I'm saying? So the
fact that some people say water, water, water. There's so many different variations of the word. I literally just had this conversation like 3 weeks ago. But what is the proper way in order to communicate it? I guess it's based off of your dialect, where you come from, location. So demographics have a lot to do with that in some occasions. But at the same
migration. See, you got migration too. It goes back in history. There's migration patterns that took place around the world, and these words were transferred from one location to the other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and some people adapt just from being around people. Like, usually, like, bro was never in my vocabulary, but I've been around and I've exchanged energy with a lot of bro type people. So I'll say bro often, and I'll get mad at myself, like, ew, it's such a gross word for girls to say. In my mind, even if it's coming out of my mouth, it's still going to be a gross word. But cuss words, to me, women cursing is kind of disgusting. But I use profanity, and when I grew up, it just stuff's different for different people based off of what they're used to, their environment, mindset. A lot of factors come into play when we're talking about effectiveness and stuff that we actually are able to communicate and how we communicate. Some people use language barriers as a way to not communicate, and that's something, and I can get it, because you could get discouraged if you feel as though you'll be miscommunicated or misunderstood. Yeah, but at the same time, it's very important that you do your best, because if not, we'll never devour those boundaries, those barriers. We'll always have them if we kind of run away from it. Every time we get to it, it's like, I'm just not going to climb that one. I'm going to just go this way again. And now we're going backwards.
Now, see, like, your answer to what you're talking about with copyright on your channel is right there on Rush of Waves' picture right there. Did you read that?
I can read the top. It's passed out.
It says, never take what is being passed out. Rather, learn to create it yourself. To the degree you adhere to this becomes your potential growth.
Now, see, those copyright infringement issues you have, stop freaking using other people's shit. Start creating your own.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not going to make an entire EP. I'm not going to make an entire EP, because it's usually because of the music. Like, well, I mean, I will, but I'm not going to, I'm not going to just have my music only.
See, you got new friends now. You got new friends now. I can sit down with you and show you how you make your own music. Sound good?
This is like the third. Yeah, it sounds good. You're trying. Yeah, it sounds like you're attempting to get me to commit to something that I'm still investigating on. So.
It's about
wait
growth.
till I'm able to give you an informed response.
It's about your potential growth. See,
interestingly about music is I've been playing the guitar for 30 years, and I've maybe learned 2 songs from other people, and the rest of the time I play my own music.
See, I think that's beautiful. Like, for me, it would not be me. I've messed around with beats, but it would be like literally like rapping and singing, and people get tired of listening to me all the time. Shoot, I get tired of me listening to me all the time.